Guys, it's finally here! It's finally come! Despite all the odds against us since the first Iron Man was released in 2008, we have survived a whole decade without being brutally murdered, or dying in a horrific accident, or being brutally murdered in a way that was meant to look like a horrific accident.
Yay us! Pat on the back. Pat on the back. Come on.
And for a reward, we can now see Avengers Infinity War, which is a movie event unlike any other, where Disney and Marvel have officially said, fuck the numerical system, we will make comic book films until the inevitable heat death of the known universe.
Well, we're fucked.
Normally, this is the moment where I tell you that the movie you've been looking forward to is good and you can relax, but while yes, Avengers Infinity War is very good, great even, you most certainly cannot relax during this 2-hour and 40-minute movie because it's incredibly stressful by design. Personally, I thought this movie was more stressful than doing my taxes this year. The cause of this stress is that Earth's mightiest heroes, i.e. the Avengers and basically any beloved Marvel character, could be on the proverbial chopping block and no one is safe. The trailers have made it abundantly clear that Infinity War and next year's untitled Avengers 4 are basically the end of this first overarching storyline in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which means many beloved characters will be making their exits stage left. Much like how Chicago Bears fans have been heading towards the exits before halftime for the last 5 seasons. Avengers Infinity War picks up where we left off on every Marvel franchise to date. So I hope you've been paying attention to all like 18 or 19 movies. This shit's gonna be on the test, and no, we ain't grading on a curve. Before the film starts, it's worth going over a recap. The Avengers are still split after the events of Captain America Civil War. Cap is in hiding. Iron Man is the de facto protector of the world. Thor, Hulk, and Loki are on an Asgardian refugee vessel. Doctor Strange is doing mystic shit. The Guardians of the Galaxy are cruising to some classic tunes while looking for distress beacons. Spider-Man is busy being a teenager, squirting his white sticky fluid on things he didn't pay for. Wanda and Vision are dating. Black Panther is busy being the king of Wakanda, and this is to say nothing of all the supporting characters from the other various franchises. Like, god, yes, there is a fuck ton of characters in this movie. The plot follows, let me check. The plot follows, just a second. Who the fuck does the plot follow? Who the fuck does the plot follow? I don't know why I'm using this. I didn't even write these notes. Avengers Infinity War follows all the superheroes as they come to realize that the world-conquering space titan, Thanos, plans on seizing all the Infinity Stones for himself, i.e. the elemental power stones seen across multiple Marvel movies.
Before creation itself, there were 6 singularities. Then the universe exploded into existence, and the remnants of these systems were forged into concentrated ingots. Infinity Stones.
Anyway, Thanos decides to take matters into his own hands and plans to use the stones to commit genocide on a universal scale, and it's up to the Avengers to stop him.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Oddly enough, the closest thing to a main character in Avengers Infinity War is Thanos, and the truth is, despite the title being The Avengers, this really is a Thanos movie, as every event in the film relates to him in some way or another. From a creative standpoint, this was the best possible decision that the directing duo, the Russo Brothers, could have made for 2 big reasons. The first in which is that despite being established 6 years ago at the end of the first Avengers, nothing concrete had ever been made about Thanos as a villain. Sure, many post-credit scenes and his presence in the first Guardians of the Galaxy showed off why he is the Marvel Cinematic Universe's main big bad to end all big bads. Nothing of substance was truly made of him as a character, such as his motivations for being a villain. All we ever saw that thick purple dildo do was sit in a chair like a lazy fuck. So with Josh Brolin giving a great performance as the Mad Titan, we finally see his motivations as a character and chief antagonist, and Avengers Infinity War delivers spectacularly on this, mostly because Thanos is given the strong character arc he deserved and was necessary. The movie presents him as a bad guy with the noble intentions of saving the universe from itself, but his execution of his plan for saving the universe is horrifying because it involves committing committing genocide on a universal scale. Basically, he wants to kill half the population of the universe so that the other half can prosper. The other reason as to why centering the film around Thanos is that it allows this massive roster of characters to have their own character arcs and moments in the narrative without hogging the spotlight. And they all gel cohesively together because every plot thread has something in common, and that thing being in common is how to best stop Thanos. Personally, I think the best way to defeat Thanos is to present him with a chair that he never wants to get out of. I personally recommend the Cordell swivel chair. It may be pricey at over $600, but it looks comfy as hell. Admittedly, yes, the second half of the film is put together a little better than the first half, mostly because the first half of Infinity War has to do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of how they have to establish where all these characters are now in order to anchor us in the narrative. But even with that said, Infinity War is an exceptionally well-paced movie that fuses action, comedy, and shocking plot twists to carry you over from scene to scene with seamless transitions that make the film feel fast-paced to maintain your interest throughout the entire runtime. And for a 2-hour and 40-minute film, that is quite a feat. Sure, we shouldn't be surprised that the Russo Brothers, who after directing some of Marvel's best movies in Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War, would be able to juggle so many characters and plot lines with ease. And what really helps them is that the action and the comedic timing are on fucking point. While there's quite a bit of CG, the action scenes are cut and edited together in a way where all the characters' explosions, rockets, punches, gunfire, and etc. are visible and front and center so you can see the carnage in all of its intense glory, particularly so in the third act where two action sequences are spliced together even though they're galaxies apart. And yet, as I said, it's so cohesive, it just works. At this point, what else is there to say about the Russo brothers' action filmmaking prowess? They've really come a long way since directing You, Me, and Dupree. Yeah, they really did that. The comedy relief and the fantastic one-liners are on point as well, and Avengers Infinity War is often one of the funniest Marvel movies to date, which is really odd considering that this is the darkest and bleakest movie in the MCU. Maybe the reason as to why the comedy really stands out because of how it adds so much needed brevity to the proceedings, because things truly get dire when we watch some of our most beloved characters die, or at least seem to bite the dust at this current state of time. Quite honestly, this film can be downright depressing. The last 20 minutes is a truly somber experience, with some art house elements that remind me of the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey or Apocalypse Now. And wow, this movie just punches you right in the gut at times. But hey, maybe that shouldn't be so surprising, seeing as the movie is based on the first half of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Which, while there are some creative changes, of course, because comic book movies do that all the fucking time, tonally and structure-wise, the film is very loyal to the source material. However, this movie isn't without flaws. Avengers Infinity War is a part one of a two-parter, and while yes, you do get your money's worth and will be satisfied by this movie, its action, comedy, and numerous character arcs we witness, it doesn't change the fact that the film ends on a huge cliffhanger, and part two isn't coming out until next year. What I'm trying to say is expect for a lot of shit in this movie to be unresolved by its end. Another issue I had is that there are a few times where the movie will become over-dramatic in its presentation to what's happening on screen to the point of self-parody, especially with how over-the-top the score is at times that it would even make the evil prairie dog blush. But with all that said, Avengers Infinity War captures the feel of an event comic. 10 years of movies have been building up to this moment, and what we witness on screen is quite spectacular. The Russo brothers have juggled a multitude of plot points, the writing is on point, the one-liners are sharp, the action is incredibly engaging and reminds me of how a comic book reads from panel to panel, the emotional stakes are as high as they have ever been, you will feel numerous emotions throughout this 2-hour and 40-minute film, and especially so from the final third act. If only we didn't have to wait a year to see how all this concludes. My final score for our Avengers Infinity War is a 9 out of 10, but that comes with an asterisk. The score may change depending on how good part 2 is, because as I said, this is a part 1, and it feels incomplete without seeing what happens next. So I hope you liked the review. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.